Welcome to our podcast. It's called Think Big with Dan Qasim. And our guest today is Riham. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do and where you live.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Riham LaRussa. I live in upstate New York, right outside of Albany. And as of November 2022, I became an entrepreneur slash business owner, and I acquired Small Packages, which is, we do curated gifts for a lot of corporate events and D2C sales. So we try to promote mostly BIPOC, women-owned, and other minority-owned consumer packaged goods that go into each gift.
That's really cool. So actually, you're one of our first guests that acquired a company. So I guess what made you want to acquire a company as opposed to starting one from scratch? Like, what did that process look like for you?
It's kind of funny. So I didn't even want to acquire a company. I actually had been with my last company for almost over 9 years. And then, it was just, I was saying in the last interview I had done, I wasn't happy doing what I was doing, but I was good. I was comfortable. And I work in a co-work community space, and somebody just said, "Hey, this company is for sale. You should buy it." And I had been interviewing, like I think with like 4 different companies, got to round 6 interview, and just getting passed over, or I was too expensive, overqualified, reorg, whatever. And then so when she mentioned this company was for sale, I just kind of laughed. I was like, that's not me. I'm not acquiring a company, even though I'd always wanted to do something on my own. I just never knew what it was I wanted to do. And I am actually a child of immigrants. And so I decided to have a conversation with the previous owners of Small Packages. And the more I learned about how they tried to really uplift minorities and women and other small-owned companies, I really got to thinking how that really aligned with my values and what I want to also teach my daughters in life. So, one conversation led to another, and the next thing I know, I acquired the company.
Wow, that's amazing. So I guess, what was your career like before? What did you do before you got into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I, for about 17 years, worked in the stone and tile industry, really worked with a lot of other like retail stores and fast food chains. And I worked with their design teams and their logistic teams and their operations and planning teams. So we did really all the floors, walls, storefronts, things like that, for like Bath and Body Works, Victoria's Secret, Tim Hortons, Coach, a lot of big names. And I enjoyed it for a time, but after a while, it was kind of like, all right, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, what's next?
No, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, also like my background is also like supply chain, so I'm definitely very knowledgeable about that space. So, I mean, I guess for you, when you bought the company, did the previous owners have they been helping you out, or like what did that transition, like that process, look like?
I always say I was very lucky. The previous owners were amazing. They helped with the transition. We had it laid out that I had a couple hours a week where they would answer any questions and, kind of hold my hand to make sure like everything went smoothly. And as they moved on to their next venture. So yeah, like I had, I think like 6 weeks with them to help move the company over from their ownership to my own.
Yeah, that definitely helps a lot. So I guess as of right now, being a new business owner, what is your number one priority for your business?
More sales, I think is the biggest priority. I always say like summer is kind of the slower time. So now is the time to kind of brainstorm and strategize how to get, the planning process for the holiday season that, you don't realize you have to plan for it June and July when it's not until December. So that's kind of our biggest focus right now.
Yeah. I mean, sales is always really important, but I guess it's like, how are you going about, getting more sales? Like, what is your strategy to reach more people between now and the holidays? 'Cause I think even in the summertime, Q3, people are starting to like think about holiday purchase. Like, how are you reaching your potential customers?
I really am trying to do more like LinkedIn to kind of talk about all the different kind of corporate gifting, doing a lot of corporate gifting blogs to help with like the SEO search, cold calling slash, I guess really it's cold emailing now. A lot of potentials, going to a lot of networking events to meet people that really, I'm more of an introvert, so it takes a lot of energy for me to go to all of these networking events, but that's kind of the way to do it. Yeah, so just kind of reaching out and then asking my own connections like, hey, do you know anybody in this world that could help me with this or with an introduction here, or what do you think about like this idea? I think next I'm going to try and do, can't remember what, just kind of have like a bunch of realtors that I know and do like a, kind of like a think tank where it's like, you let me help you with your closing box for all of your, like, when you do a commercial sales or real estate sales, don't go running out and finding something. Let me help you have a standard box that you give to all of your clients when you close, and I'll have it ready for you to go. So it's kind of doing like think tanks like that about what should go in these potential boxes as well, or what their ideas are, things like that.
Yeah, like I'm an introvert too, and actually, like for I always like I think I told Cost like when we started our company, my first networking event, I wanted to like turn around and go home. Like this is not for me, but I'm already here. So I guess as of you mentioned like several different things like networking, LinkedIn, email. I guess so far, what has been the most effective strategy for you?
Networking. The thing that I hate doing the most is what has been working the most. It's funny, I was at an event last week and, I knew a couple of people there, but, trying to not like hold on to them and just kind of stay with them the whole time. So I went off by myself and I was like, I'm not good at like just coming in. And I just saw another person and I guess like, sarcasm or like just, my like little social awkwardness comes in where I just go, oh, I'm so bad at networking. And she just kind of laughed and that kind of opened the door. And I was like, oh, like just being me and saying something like ridiculous like that makes somebody else who feels the same way. And then, through her, then I met her husband who had other connections there. And it was like something so ridiculous like that is what helped me open the door to, other networks or other connections at the event.
Cool. So, by the way, I believe you must have faced a lot of challenges while starting your business, and you must be facing even now you must be facing many problems. But what were some of the biggest financial challenges you faced when you were starting your business?
Biggest financial challenge. So when I purchased the business, it was at the very end of the holiday season, which is the biggest moneymaker. And I, in all of my past careers, was never in charge of finances or budgets. And so honestly, my biggest financial challenge was not realizing that same amount of money wasn't going to constantly come in, and I had to come up with a forecast, projections for the year, and budget and say no to things that like I knew were good ideas and I knew would help, but just be like, I don't have the money to do this. And because I was more of a newer entrepreneur, there weren't really a lot of bank loans available to me unless I would have put my house up for collateral. And it was just one thing that my husband and I had said from the very beginning. Like he was 100% supportive of me quitting my job and doing this, but putting our house up for collateral was just like one thing that we said that we couldn't do. So, being a new business owner, not knowing, and it sounds so ridiculous, but not knowing how to budget and do projections was my biggest challenge. Slowly but surely learning.
Cool, cool. So, how technology helped your business in your career?
Technology. Let's see here. I mean, there are so many different automated systems that I had no idea existed. So like, a new CRM system really helped a lot with like reaching out to, tracking all of the cold calls, or emails. I keep saying cold calling, but it's all really email. So it helped track all that and the potential sales, who was interested and not. I'm learning about AI, which is scary still to me because I don't truly understand it, but that's helped a lot with like me writing blogs because I'm not really a great writer, so it helps get like the creative juices flowing. I'm not really sure what other technology I've used besides I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything else.
Well, I guess in terms of like social media, like you mentioned LinkedIn, like I see oftentimes, brands in your space are using Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Like if you use those platforms, have they been successful for you?
Yeah, so Instagram has been our biggest. So we use Instagram a lot. We're doing, I think, like 3 to 4 posts a week, and that's kind of where we found the most success. That and through like Google Ads. Those two, between the two of those, have been the most successful
So,
platforms for us.
so in terms of doing posts, like just for audience, like what posts have been the most, like what types of posts, like videos of your products, or you talking, or like pictures, like where have you seen like the most traction in terms of Instagram posts?
The most we've received, most engagement we've received are from videos of women talking about the female relationship, entrepreneurship, struggles, and just like supporting and uplifting each other. I think that's really a big message that other women like to hear and see. So those have been the most popular ones for us. But really, we've quickly learned that like just like a picture of a product just doesn't cut it anymore. Where I feel like maybe a couple of years ago that was great, but now nobody cares about a picture of your product. They want to see a video. They want to see it in action, like, using it, something like that.
So in terms of your current customers, are they mostly like in New York or nationwide, or I guess where are you selling most of your products?
It's really nationwide. I think our biggest clients are mostly actually in the Midwest. And I think 70+% are women who are like, 35 to like 50. And I think that's because most of women in that, group are really busy. Not saying that other people aren't busy, but between managing careers and if they choose to be a mother, they're, those schedules as well. Like I always say, like, that's the hardest part. So one of the best things is our gifts are very thoughtful. But you don't have to spend a lot of time scouring to find the perfect gift. And then we have a delay ship option. So people can say, oh, I have time now to plan these gifts and I don't want it to ship until August 15th. So I think that's where most of our customers or consumers are coming from.
So in terms of social media or just in general, like you mentioned the videos, and I agree it's very important, but like what other trends are you seeing in the industry that have helped your brand reach more people?
Friends, a lot of collaborations, trying to collaborate with other companies that align with our values and promote the same thing as us. So we're really reaching out to a lot of different companies now to start those collaborations. We're working on like a World Suicide Prevention box that's coming up, and working with other companies. And we actually have an author on board whose message. There's a book called "I'm So Happy You're Here." It's by Liz Climo. It's like my favorite book. My 7 and 10-year-old daughters love it too. It's for everybody. And it's just kind of about like mental health and everything. So I think it's collaborating with other known brands that have the same values as you in some way and cross promoting that way.
All your business B2B, or do you do some B2C also? What's the breakdown if you're doing both?
It's 50-50. We do a lot of B2C and a lot of B2B. Most of our B2B comes, like I said, around the holiday time because that's when everyone's doing their holiday gifts.
So when it comes to B2C, are you mostly selling like on your website, or do you use Amazon? What is the channel that where most people are buying your products?
Everything is on our website. I've thought about going to Amazon, but that's just a beast that I am not ready to tackle. So maybe in a few years, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, if you can sell like on your website, it's way better because Amazon's fees are so high. It's like 30%. So if you can get people directly to your website, that is the way to go. So I guess in terms of, you mentioned your number one priority is sale, but I guess the next 3 to 6 months, like what else are you looking at? Like what are your goals for your business between now and the holidays are obviously coming up? Like what are some of your goals for your business?
I would really like to take the time to research more products and companies, people who have amazing products, but would never have a way to bring them to the market, or actually, they don't have the budget for marketing. So I want to like find more companies that are starting out that have, are minority owned, women owned. Like I said, like I'm a child of immigrants, so it's really important to me to help other minorities in this space. There's one product that I'm looking into. It's based in Nigeria, and they use the baobab plant. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's like something that they've had in their country for centuries, and they find ways to use it nowadays. And I'd love to help bring a product like that to light. Like they have it in different like lotions and oils, and you can a smoothie powder, and people aren't going to find out about it because, well, I mean, it's just, there's just so many, superfoods and like lotions and everything on the market right now. So I kind of trying to find those niche, I can't say that word. So you can feel free to edit that a little bit. Those like products that really stand out, that are different, but are special. So that's kind of my my next priority.
So in terms of selling products, do you look to sell them from your own shop, or do you do drop shipping, or like what's the breakdown in terms of like how you're selling your products currently?
We don't do drop shipping. Everything is from our own shop right now.
So like, have you thought about drop shipping, or is that something that you've looked at all, or?
Yeah, so I think it's a little different for us with the drop shipping because it comes in a gift box. So it would be a little hard to have products from different areas come in and be in on time to send out the gifts. So that would be the challenge there. We do it maybe on a very small scale. Our fulfillment center does work with a lot of other women-owned companies. And, from there, I've been like pulling from their products that way.
So you were talking about, I guess like your niche is focusing on women-owned and minorities, but like I guess industry-wide, you're pretty much working with every industry. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I would say that's correct. And I would like to point out we do have some non-women-owned, some larger company brands on the website. It's not only that, but it's, I think we strive to have like around 85% be that as well.
So in terms of industries, are there certain industries that you work more with, or that you're targeting? Because I think woman-owned and minority is broad. I mean, that can be any industry, right? So there's specific, industries that you feel like have been more of your like ideal customer.
Really, I don't know if we have like quite the ideal customer. I think it kind of the missions and values that we have really go along like every industry and what everyone's trying to do. We worked with large pharmaceutical companies down to like small business coaches. So we don't have one type of consumer in mind or industry that we try to target. We just know that our values and missions and everything kind of align with what most larger scale companies are striving for now.
That's cool. So I guess, if we're going to talk in about 1 year, a couple years from now, like where do you see your business going? It's like, what is the goal for your brand in terms of scalability?
One goal I would love to do is a quarterly subscription box with like these unique products that we find from around the world. But I don't want to launch anything like that until we have like quality products, because I don't want to add to the waste of, just getting things and throwing them in the garbage. So that's one thing. I would love to, maybe have like a brick and mortar shop where people could come in and actually, test the products themselves and then add them in. So, we just launched our marketplace. So it's not just curated gifts. You can also actually go and buy something on your own, like just for yourself. Like if you want like the hot sauce, or you really like the lotion, you can just go buy that lotion and not have to get a whole package. So I would love to have a brick and mortar shop, but that's down the road. So I think those are my two big goals and scalability.
That's cool. So I guess just to wrap it up, in terms of any advice you have for any young people or just people in general that are thinking about buying a business or being an entrepreneur, like what advice do you have for somebody, because you've been through this project, you've bought the business, you're doing this right now, to be in your position one day?
I will say the time is never right. It's never going to be perfect. And if you're passionate about it, I always just say, just go ahead and leap, because you can't fail if you tried, right? You don't want to live with regret. So I think trying it makes it worth it. I understand like the financial part of it is always scary, but it can start off as a side hustle, but just do it. It's never going to be perfect, but just do it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think it's like a very common trend we've heard from so many people is to just jump in and do it and not like overthink it. Because I think too many people are like waiting for like the right moment, but that's amazing and that's really good advice. But thank you so much for your time. I really learned a lot, and I'm really rooting for you. Hopefully, in the next year or two, as we can talk, your business will scale exponentially. So,
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time too.
thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right, bye.